if-then. Again, I think it's as important as anything on the test. And it's so nice. It all begins with the word if. Whether the word if is at the beginning of a sentence or in the middle of a sentence, it matters not at all. The implications matter greatly. So, they're going to present you with a host of arguments that involve if-then statements. And what they're doing is they're testing, do you understand the implication of a statement? Not the statement itself, not the explicit statement, but the implication of that statement. So, they've only got 4 choices. And it looks like, it goes like this. On the if side, they can affirm it. So if I say, say, if it rains, I'll get wet. There are 4 things I can do with that statement. Now, to me, what's interesting about this is, that's the way it's going to appear on the test. Well, typically, the word then ordinarily does not appear. Right? So it's the word if you're really focused on. Yeah. What follows the word if doesn't really matter, other than you need to recognize the words when they're repeated. So I'm going to talk about, well, if it rains, then I'll get wet. So the clause, right, is it rains, I'll get wet. So the clause is very, there's not a lot of information. That makes it a good teaching tool. But nothing changes. No matter what I put in here, doesn't change any of the relationships. You with me? So that's how you make a level 1 a level 5. Because you guys are accustomed to reading everything. You're accustomed to, well, I need to understand everything. I need to process everything. And attorneys are in the business of providing you with extraneous information, with immaterial information, in order to advance our cause. So that very much appears on the LSAT, where you're being presented with information that is not at all critical to resolution, but you don't know that. And so it stands for the principle, whatever's here doesn't matter. How about if the information, I want to test you on an if-then, but I want to produce failure, I want a level 5. So I write something like this, if. If Rand's theory of objectivism produces a valueless society, then a valueless society must necessarily have implicit values. What the hell does that mean? Do you get that test takers will stop and try to process what I just said? With me? And then what are you going to run out of?
Respond.
What was the important word?
If.
It's the most important word on the test, because it doesn't matter what follows from it. The logical relationship remains the same. So think of it as a big clause. Now you do have to recognize the words, because the words will be repeated. So if I've written something about Rand's objectivist theory and implication for a valueless society, sure, then the second sentence may repeat Rand and the valueless society. But that's it. It doesn't matter whether that said Rand and a valueless society and objectivism, or it said if it rains. It makes no difference. The logical relationship is what you're getting tested on, because that's what we care about. So, let's say it's a simple statement that if it rains, I'll get wet. And we say, let's affirm the if. Remember, you want to go from the example to the principle, right? So the principle is, how do you handle an if-then statement? The example is, do I want to use the example of rain, or do I want to use the example of objectivism and value of society? Well, I think it's easier to teach with rain. So, first sentence is, if it rains, I'll get wet. That's always the same, right? You start with that first sentence. If it rains, I'll get wet. The second sentence says, it rained. Did I get wet? First sentence is, if it rains, I'll get wet. Yes? Second sentence is, it rained. Did I get wet?
Yes.
You bet I did. Talk to me.
Yes.
But don't you want to say, well, what if I had an umbrella? Would I get wet if I had an umbrella?
No.
Would I get wet if I stayed indoors? Well, why did you say I'd get wet? What a pack of losers. You were right, because you don't bring in anything from the outside. You bring in nothing from the outside. Remember the definition of fact on the LSAT? Fact is a statement for which no support is offered. So when I say, if the first sentence you read is that if it rains, I'll get wet, what is now a fact?
I'll get wet, you get wet.
Well, you'll get wet when?
If it rains.
Did it say, I will get wet only if it rains?
No.
Oh. But it did say, if it rains, I'll get wet. So you get it as now a fact. If it rains, you're going to get wet. Talk to me.
Yeah.
There's only 4 things they can do with this. The first thing they can do is to affirm the if. Now, the other way you can look at if then, as it's cause and effect. So the if is the cause. So whatever helps you understand, and the then is the effect. Would it be fair to say that in my hypothetical, the cause of my getting wet was the rain? Talk to me.
Yes.
And the effect of the rain was I got wet.
Yes.
Yeah, talk to me.
Yes.
Anybody need Aristotle yet? So, now you want, I'll move it up now, which they never use these 2 words, but if you want to take this in logic, right, okay, then this is the antecedent. But you're never going to see these words on the test because it's not a logic test. It's the consequence. What's important is that you understand the big picture. Again, you can't go to law school without being abstract. It's not possible. I resisted it. It can't happen. Okay. But an if-then matters in our world because it brings in the word if in law school. See, you want to charge your clients more, so you never use the word if. You use the term condition subsequent. Then I can charge them more. Do you realize that was a condition subsequent? And then you say something like, well, nicey pry is hell. I don't even know what language he's speaking. Bada bing, bada boom, ka-ching. They say words you can't understand. You will. If-thens, the if means the thing hasn't occurred. You with me? When you say if, and that's what I'm saying, in law school, you're going to be all over this. In property law, oh my God, you're going to throw yourself off a roof. But everything there will be condition subsequent and condition precedent, which means before and after. Okay. So every time, which they're not going to do very often, they say if then, and they say if Tracy walks into the room, then I move to the side. Tracy has walked into the room.
Ergo?
Bye-bye. Now, let's stay on this for a second. Wait, stay on this. Stay on this. Right? So you get, if Tracy, you got this rain get wet, right? If Tracy walks into the room, then I get the hell out of the way. Yes? What happens if Tracy walks into the room?
You get the hell out of the way.
And we affirmed the if. Another way of saying we affirmed the cause, another way of saying is we've affirmed the antecedent. Yes? Now, I'd say, let's deny it, right? If Tracy walks into the room, I'm getting the hell out of the way. But Tracy didn't walk into the room.
You said.
What can you, did I get out of the way, or did I remain where I am? Oh, losers, such losers. You kill me when you do this. When Tracy doesn't walk into the room, we have no guidance. What's the statement we give is if, which is the same as saying when. When Tracy walks into the room, I do something, yes?
Yes.
Is it fair to say when Tracy walks into the room, then we know what I'm going to do, yes? But if Tracy doesn't walk into the room, were you given any guidance?
No.
And therefore, when you deny the cause didn't come about, you don't know the effect. I could move to the side, I could stay right here, yes? Tell me this isn't the highlight of your shallow, desperate, hollow, miserable, empty lives. Okay, next. So we have affirmed the if and we have denied the if, right? Let's go up here and let's affirm the then. So we say nothing about Tracy. We say if Tracy walks into the room, I will get out of the way, yes? Next statement is, I got out of the way. What, if anything, can we say about Tracy? I'm sorry? Oh! Losers, come on! If Tracy walks into the room, I get out of the way. I got out of the way. Does that mean Tracy had to come into this room?
No.
Could I have gotten out of the way on my bloody own? Did I need Tracy to get out of the way? So the principle, which is what's important, again, the example doesn't matter, it's the principle, right? The principle is every single time on this test or anywhere else in life, you have an if-then statement, right? And you affirm the consequent, that's the fancy way. You affirm, yeah, the effect came about. You affirm the then, say yes to the then. It tells you nothing about the if. Could the if have occurred? I got out of the way. Could Tracy have walked into the room?
Maybe, question mark.
Yeah, but did she have to walk into the room? Couldn't I have gotten out of the way on my own?
Right.
And then the final one. This is so.
No.
This is
No,
so.
I love this.
And then, final one. We deny the then, right? We're denying the then. If Tracy walks into the room, I get out of the way, yes? I'm standing right here. What can you tell me about Tracy? I'm not getting out of the way. I'm not doing it. What can you tell me about Tracy? Come on, will you? Don't spot.
It also has no bearing on whether the cross happened.
Well, well, you say it has no bearing. If Tracy came into the room, were you able to predict my conduct?
Yes.
Who said no? If Tracy comes into the room, where am I going? I'm getting out of the way. Okay, I didn't get out of the way, so who didn't come into the room? Tracy. That's a contradiction.
Okay.
Why?
The wine bar is open.
So then the check, I don't know why you put check mark. Is check mark means yes or check mark?
Check mark
means
means we are denying the then. I'm in this little box here.
bad? So the check mark means to you.
We're denying the then.
Is denying.
Meaning,
So it's an X in regular people's mind. The check.
well, I don't know about regular. I seek to be regular, but I don't know that I achieve that. No, the then is, and this is the contrapositive, but what I want to get to you is, when the then is denied, when that does not come about, you're saying the effect did not come about, well then the cause could not have come about. If Tracy entered the room, wouldn't I have to move to the side? Talk to me.
Yes.
The fact that I didn't move to the side is completely contrary to Tracy's coming into the room, yes? Which means, what did Tracy not do? She's not come into the room. So this is really heavily tested.
I didn't
But-
understand it then.
I'm sorry?
Was it affirm? I didn't understand it. I
Well, affirm the
understand
cause or the effect?
The effect. I didn't understand.
Okay, well, affirming the effect is, we say, if Tracy comes into the room,
You gotta move.
I'm getting out of the way.
Yeah, that's the fact. That's it.
But could that have said that the only condition under which Peter gets out of the way is when Tracy comes in the room? Could have been written that way,
Yes.
but it wasn't.
Oh, okay.
And therefore, there may be multiple conditions under which I could get out of the way that would have nothing to do with Tracy.
Okay, I got it.
And we will go over this and over, but I just sort of, I couldn't resist.
No, listen,
As you
I
know, I'm
love
shameless.
it. I love it. I'm gonna get over here and I'm gonna show you guys something.